Now you want to reverse the clock by 5 or 10 years. You want to look younger than your age. And you know this is technically now possible. Today, I'm giving you the inside information from the greatest clinics around the world. What you would be told if you walked in from skincare to supplements, devices, and yes, I'm going to talk about how you can avoid facial fat loss from these devices because I know that's one of the reasons you don't go get them. You're scared of losing your facial fat and looking older than when you walked in the door. And I'll also tell you the #1 king of all injectables in the world for skin tightening that actually most of you have access to. Buckle up, take notes, download this one. You may want to watch it a few times. Okay, today I'm talking about 5 skin tightening solutions maybe you're already getting or you're contemplating getting, but you would have definitely heard conflicting reports and you're wondering what you should do. #1, for skincare, the #1 combination I see working for skin tightening is a combination of retinoic acid, my preference is retinaldehyde, talk about that in a second, and AHA, alpha hydroxy cream. So many of you might be on these already. So if you look at the continuum, you got retinoic acid, the most potent, then you go down to retinaldehyde, retinol, and retinol palmitate. So retinaldehyde's right up there to the point where you're not going to get too much inflammation for most people, but you are going to get great results. As you go to a retinol, sometimes it's not strong enough for most people. The next thing we're going to add to that on a different day is going to be the alpha hydroxy. And what you're looking for is a 10% cream. Couple caveats here. You don't combine them the same day for most people. What you're going to do is use one night, one the next night. Now here is the caveat. Skin tightening is not inflammation. Too many people, I still see in my practice, a very educated group of people, but they come in with too much inflammation. If you cycle that every night, so you're using one or the other every other night, it's too much for almost everyone. Now, 2, maybe 3 times a week, you could get away with it. But if you're doing it every night, it's too much. How do you know? You feel a windburn feel, you have redness. You never want to see redness. Maybe when you're starting this routine, you get a bit of redness, but long-term redness, or after a couple weeks especially, when you should be adjusted to it, indicates inflammation. Here's the other part that's hard for a lot of people. Everyone's going to have a different dose. So somebody might do this one night one night the other. So we'll call it a Monday and a Tuesday. And then they might not do that for a whole other week. They might just use their moisturizers, their vitamin C, their hyaluronic acids, but they won't use those 2 strong actives more than once a week. Other people might get away with 2 to 3 times. The point here is you're going to have to analyze your own skin, and that's hard for some people, but that's what you want to watch out for. Please note, if you falter here, you allow inflammation to take over, you risk your facial fat, and you risk facial fat loss that undermines everything you're trying to achieve. Now, what would make this worse? Inflammation plus what? Sun, photo damage, sun damage, poor diet, eating the wrong food, and not sleeping. You exercise, that can help overcome some of those things, but don't allow inflammation to take over. Learn your skin, and if you need some help, go to your esthetician, go to your provider, and have them assess your skin for inflammation. Key point if you're going to manage your skin at home. I have other videos, of course, on retinols and AHAs individually, but that combination works very well in clinical practice, something you want to consider. #2, yeah, this is a little shocking. It's going to be controversial for some of you, but let me explain. And it is PDO threads, but smooth PDO threads. There's a couple things here. PDO threads, you slide them underneath the skin. PDO stays for about 60 to 90 days. They dissolve, they go away. And then they have now been shown and proven to build types 1 and 3 collagen. So this is very well studied now across the globe. But there's still a lot of FUD out there, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that this is scar tissue. You can't have a facelift after. All these controversial things are brought up to create videos and to create tension so you watch people's videos, or they pigeonhole you into their surgical procedures. PDO threads work amazing, but here is the caveat. Number one, you have to have real threads. So I travel the world, I see different types of threads. Some are terrible. Some say they're PDO, but they're really made of substances, other substances, PCL, PLLA, which aren't bad in and of themselves, but the depth of placement for those are different. So real PDO threads, preferably made in the USA or made in the country you're in, so they're not shipped around and they're fresh. And the key is the depth that you place them. With PDO, if you go into the fat layer, if you go too deep, they just won't do anything. If you go super superficial to where you see the thread, obviously you see the thread, typically these are blue. And I use ones all around the world. So they're not all blue, but thread visibility is a big issue because it's very difficult to go remove those. And after about 3 weeks, they crumble a little bit. So you can't remove the whole thread in one piece. Not good. So you need a great provider, great threads, proven to work. They do tighten skin. Where are some key areas? Submentum, great. Lower neck here, if you have crepey skin there, perfect. Smile lines, wonderful. And the forehead, because we never want to Botox the forehead. Before we get to number 3, let me interject here. If you do a search, like a Google search, and you say, what's the top skin tightener in the world? They'll come out with lasers. Well, that's the worst skin tightener in the world. Lasers do not tighten your face. Maybe sure, they tighten skin a little bit, but what you're looking for, maybe a little bit of skin tightening, you're looking for facial tightening. And that takes me to number 3, very controversial, but let me tell you about it, and it's RF microneedling. Now, a third of you are going to say, I had it done, I lost face fat. True. A third of you are going to say, I had it done, I saw 0 results. True. And a third of you are going to say, it was so awesome. What are these people talking about? I got great results. True. And here's what you need to know about RF microneedling. I do this every day in clinic. Probably the machine I use the most is my oldest machine because I can get to high settings to do what? Get rid of fat. Because where do you want me to tighten you the most? For people over the age of 40, 50, 60, it's the lower face, the jowls, the jawline, and the submentum. So I do that all day long. And the key is settings, and I'm very aggressive. But here's the difference. I almost never use RF microneedling for the upper face, and I really pick and choose where I'm using it, not submentum, but the lower neck I'm talking, where that crepey skin is. If you ruin that skin, if you get rid of that fat here or in the upper face, you're toast. You then need to have PRF, plasma fill, where your blood draw to restore it, and vitamin supplements and skincare. It's a problem. So everyone's right, but you've got to pick an expert. You have to have a great machine. A lot of times these machines are about $100,000, good machines. And then to throw a third thought in here that you do need to know, there are devices where the needle, the whole length of the needle heats. That's kind of the gnaw theory. And then there are devices where only the tip heats. I'm a big fan of only the tip heating because I can target fat or skin based on depth and temperature. This is a little more controversial. Some people would like both. But for me, I treat a lot of skin type 4, 5, and 6 and darker skin. One of the things that you're going to have a problem with is you're going to have some hyperpigmentation when you get to the levels that are going to get you your results. So as you go to higher levels to get amazing results, and if you go superficial, you get hyperpigmentation. And I don't want to use the word scarring because 99% of the time those little dots go away, but 1% they won't. Okay, RF microneedling. Caveats you need to know about. Number 4, let's go to the world of supplements because we now know these work. And with supplements, I have to say sleep. I hate to put 2 things in there, but I'm going to say sleep is a given because it's huge. Your body's resting, it's rejuvenating, it's restoring, and here's the supplements that people want skin tightening. This is what I put them on. Number 1, K2D3. 85% of my practice is women. Women lose bone, particularly starting the age of 35 to 40, if they're white and thin, which is a lot of people's practice in aesthetics. K2D3, vitamin D3 helps the absorption of calcium, and then vitamin K2, which is different than K1, vitamin K2 helps put it where you want it to go, in the bone, and helps prevent it from going in the vasculature, the vessels, the tendons, the ligaments, where it's going to cause actual joint pain. So you want it in the bone, in the spine, particularly for me, in the face. Because when you lose facial bone, even if you go get a facelift, what happens? You remove the skin, maybe they do fat transfer and 60 to 70% of the fat takes, And so you can get some volume, but your bone still looks the same. It's why you're going to say, oh, they got a facelift, but they still look, quote unquote, old. That's bone. Maintain your bone. And silica. Silica is kind of the glue that holds the collagen together. It's the supporting actor. And then you have vitamin A, which is like your retinol, but you're taking it orally. Now, you can't go take your retinol orally or your retinoics, but vitamin A as a vitamin is great. You have to be careful not to overdose on it. Vitamin C and zinc. That's kind of what's in a vegan collagen powder, because there is no vegan collagen. You get the supporting characters of the show, so to speak, and that is the silica A, C, and zinc. So that would be a good supplement program. And then overall inflammation, I always like things like black garlic and turmeric, but those are optional if we're just talking skin tightening like we're talking today. Number 5, I like all kinds of different injectables, but really being non-biased about this, if you were to pin me down, which one is the skin tightener of all injectables, fillers, biostimulators, or collagen stimulators? PRF with the blood draw, we're working on the data for that. However, I can't sit here and say it's better than SCULPTRA. SCULPTRA still is the king of all kings. It's the king of skin tightening. Your first dose is always your skin tightening. Your second dose is your volumizing dose. SCULPTRA is complicated, and you need to know a few things here. Somebody messaged me the other day on YouTube and said, I watched a podcast or something where some dermatologist said they would never use SCULPTRA. You got to get a new doctor if that's the case. And they probably have never injected SCULPTRA. How many people come on, I don't care if they're dermatologists, plastic surgeons, doctors, nurses, PAs, whoever you are, and you're talking about SCULPTRA, unless you've injected 1,000 patients plus, which is not hard to get to. If you do 10 a day, do the 10 a week, do the math on that. A couple of years, you got 1,000 patients. You need to do that to understand SCULPTRA and be able to use it. But the fears of the past, the granulomas, which is even in the past was rare, nodules, which was common, overfilling. You have to be a terrible injector to overfill with SCULPTRA. I used it for over 25 years in many different methods. There's also places where you would never, ever, ever put SCULPTRA, and you don't deviate from that. Many, above the lip, under the eye, in the lip, you would never use SCULPTRA in those areas. So you really have to seek an expert review and get SCULPTRA, but anyone that says they're scared of it, wouldn't use it, or you shouldn't do SCULPTRA, they have issues, and they need to go back to school. These things are proven, but skin tightening, which I'm talking about today, remember, that's just your single dose of SCULPTRA at about a 9-to-1, or even 18-to-1. And the Brazilians, I think, have proved this well because they use a lot of it on the body, much more than we do in this country. 18-to-1 works very well, and that is my body dilution. But with SCULPTRA, understand there's dilutions, there's depth, there's where you place it. And sometimes we're in bone, sometimes I'm on fat, sometimes I'm more superficial. Now that's where you got to be careful. We're not intradermal ever. We're in the fat tissue at most in terms of superficial depths. So you see what all goes into it. SCULPTRA was just approved for a couple things, but glow. Just got approved for cheeks. We've been doing that forever. Now, we knew SCULPTRA created glow. We just could never say it based on the FDA approval process. We've known it for 20 years, 15 for sure. But now we can say it because they got the FDA approval, and this is studied to show increased glow. It will be at some point in the world in time be approved for skin tightening because it's that good. So if you have an expert injector around you, you want to look for that. And of course, I have a store locator it's growing over time. People that carry my skincare products, a lot of times they're in my training circle. A lot of times they offer similar services. So if you like what you see on this channel, store.RajaniMD.com/locate, and that will grow over time. We even have European locations now. So 5 shocking skin tighteners. You see how complex the world of aesthetics is. You're now going to want to watch this video on facial slimming, where I use devices, I use SCULPTRA to slim a face with before and afters.